I cried when he crossed the finish line, and I cried when I saw the first people at 5:00 in the morning coming to the Prater Hauptallee. I didn't even think that there were so many people, like thousands of people standing on the Prater Hauptallee, and you saw it too, It was crazy. It was fantastic. The atmosphere was so thrilling, and people were cheering. And when he crossed the finish line, it was really crazy when he did it. And was one of my magic moments in my life for sure.
Hello and welcome to the Ronny Leber Show, where every week we bring you fascinating guests with inspiring stories of success and overcoming obstacles from the world of sports, business, and entertainment. To support this channel, please subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and hit the like button so that we can deliver you the best content possible. She comes from a little village in Carinthia, and she studied in Vienna and Dublin. After her studies, she settled into the sports and events industry, and she's the head of the running initiative, the Daily Mile Austria. She's a member of the board at the Event Management Board Austria. She's the executive director of the Vienna City Marathon, and she also played a big role in the organization of the fastest marathon in history, the INEOS 1:59 Challenge. Joining us live from Vienna, Austria, I'm happy to have her on the show. Please welcome, here's Kathi Widu. Woo!
Ooh, hi!
Hey, wow. I'm so excited to have you here. And today we'll learn about how to set up a successful event, how to build your network. We'll talk about setting up a marathon with tens of thousands of people. And of course, we'll also have to talk about the fastest marathon ever ran, the INEOS 1:59 Challenge, where also you had a big role as well. But before we get into all of that, just listening to all of your story, like looking back a little bit, what were your first thoughts that you just had?
Wow. Thank you for having me here. I'm excited. I love my job. I love bringing people to run, to get into emotion. Also I love, like the kids when they run. I love the adults when they cross the finish line. And I'm so happy that I can do a job like this. And, I will be happy to do this in the future as well.
It sounds like you're very passionate about your job and that you really love what you're doing. And I think that's a great recipe for being successful also in what you do. Was this that you had imagined as a kid? Like, did you always want to go into the sports field? I guess that you already were sports interested when you were a kid, but did you know it was going to be sports, it was going to be running, or how did you choose your career?
Yeah, actually, as you mentioned, I studied tourism management, and I always wanted to go into, like the service sector. So I tried out a little bit, how it is working in a hotel or how it is working in a restaurant. And I always loved sports. When I was a kid, I tried so many sports. I played table tennis in a club. I was a professional snowboarder. I played like basketball at school. I was in athletics a little bit. So I had a chance to try really a lot. And I like sports a lot. And I also loved events. Every time when I went to an event, I said, wow, crazy what these guys are doing just for a huge amount of people and setting up everything. And when I studied tourism management, I learned a little bit that the hotel and the restaurant industry is not mine. Like I always wanted to go into the event side, and I was always passionate about sports. So, I felt that the sports event, sector would be the perfect, job for me. So, I wrote my first applications, as a trainee, and I started to work as a trainee. I started to work in the company. I'm now the CEO. So I really had the chance to grow from really small to like big. And my way was very special. And I love that. And I also appreciate the chances I always got. And so, and this is what I love to do. And I'm sure I will do this my whole life.
Wow, that's very fascinating. It's very beautiful to hear that you actually started as a trainee and then worked your way up to become the CEO of the company. And we will get more into that. And also hearing the fascination about events and sports. And that's a fascination that both of us share. What makes for you the fascination of working in an event field, especially in the sports events field?
What makes the sports event feel so special is, I think, that are the emotions people have. So when you can either watch a really cool football game or a tennis match, when you see the elite athletes playing, you see the exceptional, when they play really, really good, So, and in my sports, like when it comes to running, what I really love there is that the elite athletes, they go together and on the same course like the hobby athletes do. So they can share their passion together and they share their emotions. And we have like people who finish a marathon in 5 hours, 5 hours 30, 6 hours, and they are so proud of their achievements. And this is what I love the most, when I stand at the finish line, seeing these people crossing and their achievements and the emotions. And this is why we do it also. And this is a perfect playground for brands and marketing communications, because they can like fill in their brands with the emotions. And this is what makes this really special. And the other thing is, like, we're more or less architects, but we are not building like houses which stay for long time on the ground and you see them every day. But we are building something really special into a city. And sometimes I'm a little bit disappointed when on Sunday evening, like the event is like, boom, when everything's like cleaned up and you don't even see that there was a marathon on this day. But what makes us so special is that people have their pictures in their minds, and they take their pictures and take their emotions home. And this is what making or creating events so special. And this is why we do this.
And especially, of course, you only have 36-hour weeks running up to the marathon. There is no overtime and so on. No, I'm kidding. Obviously, there's a lot of work that is extra to be done in terms of like really leading up to a big event. And of course, the Vienna City Marathon is the big event that you are every year part of or having the organizational team in a way as well. And I think what's really fascinating about this, like, just gives an understanding of what it's like to organize a marathon. It's 42.195 kilometers. It's 26.2 miles. It's a track that it's not like in a stadium track that you just have everything under your control. Like you do as much as you can, but it's 42.19. Like it's a long distance that you need to cover. Also in terms of branding, in terms of all that. Like what's involved in organizing a marathon.
It's huge. Maybe you can imagine like taking a stadium packed with people on 42 kilometers. Like you take it, because you have fans, you have the professionals, you have the athletes, and you have to bring them across the city. So, what is really important, having a good connection to the city where you organize it, because we need the authorities, we need the police, we need the people who like closing the streets and everything. So in the Vienna City Marathon, there are over 90 authorities involved. And we are really happy in our team to have really good people like taking care of all the organizational stuff. So yeah, we have a course which remains mostly the same over the years, so which makes it easier for the authorities, for the police, for the security men to plan and to plan and to do the day on its own. So yeah, this is what is really important. And once you have the course, then of course you have to take care of what happens along the course. Where are the fan engagement points? Where is the best place to do the branding? What are the key course elements for the runners? Where do you need to place, or where's the need for refreshment sections? Where are the emergency points for like your Red Cross or everybody who helps? So it's quite a lot, and we plan the marathon for not only a couple of months. So what we do is like we have the dates for the marathon for the next years, which are coordinated with the city, because Vienna is, of course, it's the capital of Austria, but it's also a really huge congress city for congresses. It's like for all the other big events take place. So we have to coordinate it with the city. And once this is fixed, then we can go into the more detailed planning. But the planning for the marathon lasts for over 1 year. So this is what we do.
Wow. So it's a very big thing also. And I mean, you have very different stakeholders that you need to service in a way, because on the one hand, you were also already talking about the authorities, about the city and so on that you need to deal with, but also from a customer's perspective, because on the one hand, you have the elite runners who might not even be the customers, because they are actually, like, most of them are probably even paid, or some of them are actually paid to be there. And then you have obviously all those different runner groups that are like the marathon runners. And in your case, in your event, it's also a half marathon. It's also a relay marathon. So it's all kinds of different target audiences that you are actually addressing. So from a business perspective also, how do you market yourself also? Because I think that's a big thing also, to market to different audiences.
Sure. This is really important. As you said before, there's the group of the marathon runners. There's a big group of tourism marathon runners. They go from one city to the next city. So we work closely together with tour operators. There are special tour operators who are offering travels to different marathons. Then for example, for the marathon, this is the most international run we have. So we work together with a platform called Words Marathon, where we can promote our marathon worldwide. And also we go to different expos. We try to have a good international connection, and so to promote the marathon itself. And the shorter the race, of course, the more national the races get. So when we talk about, like, for example, the half marathon, this is even more local. Or the relay marathon, this is really people from different companies or businesses. They like it because they can share the marathon distance in people of four. So they can make it as a team event. They can celebrate afterwards in the finishing area. So and the day before we have 5K race, where you can even walk or jog or can go for your first event ever. And this is really for a local community here in Vienna, when they want to be part of an event but not running on Sunday. And also for the kids, we go to schools and say, hey, even it's a Saturday, come here with the parents or the teachers. So we try to focus on the different target groups. And this is of course a lot of work during the year.
Well, I can imagine. I was just going to ask, like, how many people are working on this marathon the whole year round? Because it has been growing quite a bit, hasn't it?
Sure. Yeah. When I started to work there as a trainee, we were 4 people in the office, and at the moment we are 13 people, who work there the whole year. Of course, they are not all fully employed, so some of them are working part-time. And during the marathon week, we have 2,500, depending on who you count. But people under our office organizes this all. So it grows a lot.
2,500. That is including what? Including the security guards, including the branding team, including the I don't know, the vendors, or what is in that?
Yeah. Everybody who is working for us on the marathon weekend. Yes, the branding team, also the people who are closing the streets and standing on the street and on the course, taking care that the cars don't cross when they are not allowed to. Then you have to imagine we have a lot of refreshment points on the course. Then we have the team who is handing over the medals. Then we have the people who are in charge of the expo, where the runners gather their race documents. And everybody who works for us on this weekend is included there.
So that's very fascinating, because thinking about this, you have about 2,000 people that are all basically part of the organization. You're as the head of the organization. How does the communication work? And obviously, they cannot all report to you. So in a way, like, what is it that actually you handle and what gets handled and so on? Like, what comes to you and to the leadership team?
We as the leadership team, we organize the smaller groups. They report to us. So, for example, let me tell you an example. The relay handover stations. So we have 3 stations on the course. We have one external person who organizes the relay handover stations. So this guy comes to our organization team. They are talking about how this is handled, what they need, how he is going to plan it. He is in charge to plan it on his own. And we communicate about, is this okay? What can we change, etc., etc. Then he organizes like who are the heads of the different handover stations. So he has 3 heads on the stations. So the station number 1 has like, let's say 30 people there. And so this is like the way we work in every department, in every team. This is what sometimes I meet somebody from the relay station 1, but I might not even know the guy that he works there. So I can't know everybody and I can't talk to everybody. So, but this is the way we organize it and this is the way it works. Yeah.
Wow. How do you organize yourself?
During the years, I found a really good way to organize myself. I mean, I can say that home office like helped us a lot in the last years. So, we can, work from home. We can work early in the morning. We can work late night. But for me and for the team, it's really important that we get breaks after the marathon. So as you know it, but it's like the peak of work is like this. It goes like this in April, and then it's like this. And so we
like
have
a hockey stick, basically.
It's like a rocket, yeah. And we have to really take care of ourselves after the marathon, because the marathon week is really also for us. It's like crazy. The best organization was when on the marathon day, I have time to talk to people. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't work. But this is the way we do as event managers. We are here if like problems occur, if somebody needs something. But the best management was done when we are not needed.
Wow. And obviously there are always some things happening that are quite fascinating in a way, or that require your attention, so to say. So, for example, just a few years ago in 2021, the marathon was done. We had a winner, and suddenly he wasn't the winner anymore.
Yeah, this was especially a crazy marathon, to say 2021. This was, to be honest, my worst marathon, because we were also excited that after 2.5 years we were allowed to organize a marathon after the COVID pandemic, after this period. And 2.5 years ago we organized the last one, and there were so many things we had to think out of the normal things we have to organize. Like we had these COVID restrictions. We have to like track everybody. We had to know where is who, and this was more additional work. Yeah. And then in addition to that, we like had this crazy situation that the winner was not the winner anymore because he was running with the wrong shoe. And, the national broadcaster said, okay, there are 5 minutes left. We have to go to the award ceremony. And then the elite coordinator comes and says, I think we don't have, like, this is the wrong guy because we have to disqualify him. He said, why? What the hell happened? Yeah. And he was running with the wrong shoe because there were shoe regulations at this time. It would go into much detail now, but the sole is not allowed to be higher than a special height. And this was just the wrong shoe. So we had to disqualify the first one, find the new third one, because this is not always easy in the finishing area. So things happen like this. But this is why we are event organizers as well. So we have to deal with situations that suddenly occur. And that's the way it is.
And you already mentioned, for example, like there are things that occur like in the moment, in a situation that you really need to deal with. How do you, like, when things like this go up? There are people who just excel in what they do, who just like rise to the occasion, And then there are others who are like, oh my God, like this is very stressful. How is this for you personally? How do you deal with situations like that?
Yeah, I am so lucky because my whole life I was like, okay, this is the situation now. What can I do? I'm not the one freaking out. I would have been lost with my two boys in my private life when I would freak out all the time. So I say, okay, let's take this situation. It is the way it is. And how can we get out of the situation? And what is the best solution for it? And I think this is the way we want our team to act. And all of them, I assure you, in the management team and in the closer team, when we organize the marathon, they are all able to do so. And so, yeah, in an event management job, I think this is the way you have to react.
Would you say that this is also one of your secrets of success along the way? Because it sounds like this is a really sound strategy in terms of dealing with changing environments, and especially in the event industry, environments are constantly changing.
Yeah, for sure. In the event industry, as you said before, I think it's not a good way to freak out. You always have, and my opinion is always, we can act better if we know more. So we always try to find out what the future will bring. I mean, it's not always possible, but sometimes changes, there are signs of changes, or maybe, like, let's say when I go to a World Athletics Congress or seminar, I try to find out what the next 2 or 3 years will bring in terms of regulations, rules, or let's say the city of Vienna, what do they plan in terms of, let's say, sustainability, or the 2030 strategy for sustainability, or and my opinion is that if what I said before, if you know more, you are more in an acting position and not only reacting. Of course, you have to react when something suddenly occurs, but it's always better to know how to act and go, and then you're able to plan better for the future.
I think that's a very, very good point that you're making right now, and I kind of relate to that. Like more than 10 years ago, I was part of an organization team, and I was the head of the entertainment at the biggest high school graduates party in Turkey. And it was like 3.5 weeks long. And I remember the first time I got there, and I was in this role. I was new. I didn't know anybody. I was just constantly reacting. Like I was not acting because I was just trying to catch up the whole time. A year later, just with the experience and with knowing what's ahead, it was a totally different ballgame, because like this, you could really plan, you could proactively do something about it. And I think that's a great way, or as Wayne Gretzky put it, skating not to where the puck is, but to where the puck is going.
Sure. I totally agree. And with a lot of experience, you are used to different situations, but also, experience sometimes, like, I don't know how to say it right, but if you always say like, this is something we did like 20 years ago and it didn't work, I think it's always worth trying again, because maybe the time was not right, or maybe it works now. I think experience is good if you take the right learnings and the right lessons from it.
Wow. And also, but talking about that, because one thing is experience is great, and also to bring in fresh ideas. How do you keep your mind fresh? How do you keep constantly bringing fresh ideas in? And at the same time, also, for somebody who wants to get into the field, or who is quite not as experienced, but new, like what's the advantage in that?
Yeah, what we try in our team is to have a good mixture between really young people and more experienced ones. So we try to get the learnings from the experienced people, and the new people, the young people, they bringing fresh ideas. Like what we have. 5 people in our office. They are like 24, 25, 26 years old, fresh from the university. So they are bringing really new ideas of what the young people think. So I think a good mixture is always necessary for this year.
Wow. And also, of course, that also comes to when it comes to communication, because especially in the last, like since you've been with the Vienna City Marathon, that has been now for 15 years, I believe, more or less, something like that. The way that we communicate has changed dramatically. What have you realized? Like also on the one hand, inside the team, how the communication has changed, and also, of course, with your clients.
Yeah, for sure. With the clients, it changed dramatically. When I started to work there, we were like sending letters to so many people. And now we have all the means of communications with, of course, email, but also social media, etc. To be honest, it's more complex, I think now, than it was then. And also, you have to like communicate on point all the time. This is the way our communication with the customers changed dramatically, and also internally. Yeah, it's easy. It's easier, like you have WhatsApp or other chatting or online tools. You can communicate more easy, but I think the workload and the speed communication goes is really is crazy sometimes. Just when you write an email and people or you don't reply within like 2 hours, people are calling, didn't you read my email? And I get, hey, hey, I didn't read it. So I think I think the speed is higher. But of course, and also the challenges, when not everybody is in the office, you have to stay in touch with the people, even if they are at home or working from somewhere else. Yeah, I think there are a lot of challenges, but I think we are dealing well with them.
Wow. One of the things that you mentioned before that I want to touch on is you said that you're going to meetings to the IAAF, or like the International Athletics Federation, for example, and you're to see what's coming and so on. But another thing that you're really good at, and I would like to know how much do you attribute your success to this part as well, is networking. Like you're really somebody who enjoys building a network, who enjoys getting to know new people. Like, what does networking mean to you, and how important is it?
Yeah, I think it is important, and I think it's really important because when you, as I said before, when you know more, you are in a better position in planning and strategic planning. So I also think that you can learn a lot from other event organizers, from other sports, and even if you think out of the box, you can have a look on classical concerts or on what you see in some other, and we have so many really good and experienced people also in Austria, but internationally, I meet a lot of fascinating and inspiring people. So, it is important. And I think it's good if I can like call, the elite coordinator from Berlin and say, hey, how are you doing this? Or I can, chat to someone from New York Marathon or from Chicago Marathon, asking them how they do in the US with it. And so, if you're connected and if you know the people in the industry, you can work better. And also in Austria, when it comes to the EMBA, I think it's really interesting to see how the agencies work and how we can benefit from like meeting each other and working on strategies. One of my latest EMBA projects was it's called the Super Practicum. It's a super traineeship, where all the EMBA agencies, we created a platform where people from universities or Fachhochschulen, another form of universities in Austria, they can apply for a traineeship. And this is something really unique because you have one platform with the best agencies in Austria where they are all listed, and you can apply for 3 traineeship on one site. So I think we are caring about, or we care about the young generation, the young people, the next event managers, and we connect with them. And so I think it's not always learning from the others. It's also giving something back to the next ones. And this is what I think is highly important.
I think it's a great point. First of all, the EMBA, the Event Management Board Austria, is one thing that basically going from just being a sports event organizer to actually being an event agency. That's one thing that I would like to touch on. But before that, I would like to ask, when you said what I really loved was actually looking outside of your field, looking outside of where you're at, looking outside of like, okay, not just at running events or not just at sports events, but also at the classical concert, just some other kind of work, and really picking ideas or picking something that they're doing good and then just implementing it into your work. And I think that's something that anybody, whatever field you're working in, can do and implement. Is there any concrete example that you have top of mind where you actually implemented something from somewhere else?
It's a good question. I think you asked me too fast. Just maybe an example of what we loved and what we are trying to implement now for the next marathon. When you have been there, I think as well, when there was the Gala-Nacht, the sports, there's like a night where the best athletes in Austria, they are awarded with an award in once a year. So, and I watched it on TV, and I saw two children doing like the announcements for the hosts of this evening. And I love this so much because we have so many talented young people, teenagers who love to be the hosts or announcers or being like in front of people talking and doing some form of moderation or doing speaker job. And I love that very much. And I am thinking about implementing this for next year's kids races. And I think we will start the application process in a couple of weeks for that, because I think it would be a good chance for teenagers or young people to present themselves. And this is what I really loved. And this is what just learning from last week or 2 weeks ago.
That's really beautiful. I love that idea. That sounds really, and I was there, yes, and it was very sympathetic. So it was very, very nice. Going back to what I touched on before in terms of shifting from just an event organizer for your own event to an event agency. That's something that you just recently actually made the shift. Was it something that COVID brought, or was it something like, how did you came to that realization? Hey, we're really good at organizing events. Let's not just do it for ourselves. Let's actually use what we know and also do it for somebody else.
For long time, we had the strategy. We have a team just organizing the Vienna City Marathon. Of course, the Vienna City Marathon is a lot of work, but as I told you before, we were 4 people at the beginning. And after a couple of years, we decided, we have to go better in this. We have to be better in that. So we started to grow our team. And then we said, okay, so we have more people in our team. And maybe this is not enough work, or maybe we have to bring in our experience somewhere else. And then we started to do smaller runs around the Vienna Marathon. So we started to do the winter running series. Then we had some runs in summertime as well. And then we said, okay, but what is the difference in like organizing a course or managing a course for the races, for a running event, to like a cycling event? And then we had the first cycling event was the Austrian Championship, which were held in Burgenland. And we were there as for the course management. And as we did this, and then in 2018, we were asked to do the course management for the UCI Road Cycling World Championship in Innsbruck, Tyrol. And our organization team did a really great job on that. So we had to grow our team as well. Then we said, okay, so we are even more people, and we have to think of what can we do with our team and what are the jobs we would like to do. And and 1 year later, we were asked to organize the INEOS 159 challenge here in Vienna as the local organizer. So
we will still get into that.
Yeah, yeah. It's
But
what was a brilliant job. And then we said, okay, our team grows and we have to find more work for the people. And we wanted to share our experience with at other events.
wow, that's very fascinating. Quite a mind shift also as an organization to shift from just like we have one signature event which you still own, but at the same time to really bring our experience and also
Sure.
to grow
Sure.
as a company.
Yeah.
And before getting into the INEOS 159 challenge, because that's another, let's say, another elephant in the room that of course we need to tackle. Just staying with the Vienna City Marathon for one more bit. COVID was, of course, something that the whole event industry changed in a way, and I mean, many events went virtual and so on. Obviously, the Vienna City Marathon is not something that you do virtually, although there was a virtual run, like you could actually listen to it and do it yourself in a way. But it's like, what changed for you as an organization? How did you change, and also how did you evolve?
Yeah. COVID was for all event organizers really crazy. To be honest, I have no other words for that. For us, what we learned from the COVID period and the way we handled the event cancellation, that for us it came to our mind that we sometimes were too complicated. People want to have simple and clear messages, and sometimes in the past we had solutions, or we had offers to our runners that when I read them now, I think I won't understand them. We had to learn that people they want it simple, they want easy, they want, and this is what we implemented after the COVID period. And what we learned also is that runners, they book really late. We had to take care of this too, because before COVID, people, they booked their hotel in summer, they booked their registration in summer. And after COVID, people started, they were unsure, is this event going to happen really? Is it, or will it be canceled again? What am I going to do with my hotel room? What am I going to do with my registration? What happens with my registration afterwards? Is it safe, or do I have to pay it again if I want to run the next year? And so we really created solutions for the people that make them more happy. And I think it is much more customer oriented. And I think this is really the right way now to do.
Wow. So basically putting not the process, but putting the client in the center, in a focus of attention. Yeah. And I think that's something for anybody, like when you can, and it doesn't matter if you're a company or if you're one person, like you yourself, like if you put your client or whoever you're working for at the center, it's always going to be a great recipe, I think, in terms of making the process better for everybody. So INEOS 159 challenge for anybody who does not know what we're talking about. On the 12th of October 2019, Eliud Kipchoge, a runner from Kenya, became the first human, and until now the only human, to run a full marathon in under 2 hours. 1:59:40 was the time, and it happened in Vienna at the Prater Hauptallee. Basically, like it started at a bridge, and then, but it was like 8 laps on a 4.2 kilometer track or something like that, or 4.5 kilometer track. And of course that waves went everywhere globally, like it all over. It was in news in Australia, in the US, like basically it went around the world, and it was the last barrier that was broken in the world of athletics. So, and you played a role because you were, or as a Vienna City Marathon team, you were the local organizer of that. Like, take us with you from the beginning. Like, how did you first hear about the idea, and then how did that develop?
Yeah, this was for sure one of our greatest events we ever had. Maybe it was the greatest event, because having Eliud Kipchoge here and running in the marathon in sub 2 was really fantastic. I mean, Eliud Kipchoge is an athlete from Kenya, as you said, and he is sponsored by a British company called INEOS, and they are based in London. And of course, they wanted to do this event in London, as this is the headquarter. And London is, of course, also a nice city to run. But it was not possible to do it in London, as the weather conditions in London at this time of the year sometimes are really bad, and it had to fit to Eliud's timetable during the year. So they searched for another location where they could do it, and they visited a couple of locations. They went to Berlin. They went to, I can't remember the third location they were. And then they came to Vienna. And we have to say huge thanks to Mark Milde. He's the elite coordinator from Berlin Marathon. And we are working with him closely together. And he brought up also Vienna, because they didn't have Vienna in mind, the Team INEOS. And he said, look, we can't do it in Berlin, as they have the Berlin Marathon in the end of September all the time. So why don't you think about Vienna, have a look on the course on Vienna? And then the teams came here, the management of Eliud and also London Marathon events was involved, and the INEOS team. And we had a look on the Prater Hauptallee, and they said, this is the place. And they saw this straight alley, and it is completely flat, and it is perfect for doing a race like this. And because of the trees, it's always like a little bit wind protected. And they said, let's do this in Vienna. And then we were the local organizers, and we organized it together with London Marathon events. But we were
when was that they first contacted you? Because it was in October was the race, 12th of October. But do you remember how much time did you have before? Because I know it was publicly announced at the end of June.
Yeah, it was publicly announced in the end of June, and let me think, it was 2019 in, I think it was May. It was May, because we were at the conference, World Athletics Conference in China, when we decided to do it. And then we get the call from Mark Milde, and it was May. And the crazy thing was that as this was an experiment, this was something never happened before in the world of running. And we had to do a test event 3 weeks before on the same course with the same people, everything. So, not Eliud Kipchoge. So we did this kind of twice, but this was our summer job at this time.
Well, so okay. To give us an understanding of how this was, like also in terms of the preparation that was actually involved into that, because I was part of the event in a way, but only in a small way. Like I was just the host at the finish line, but you were like in the whole organization, in your whole organizational part, like that led up to that. You said you together with the London Marathon team, and also INEOS was of course involved. And like what needed to be done, because there were a lot of things that were outside of the normal marathon organizational realm that actually needed to be done for this very special race to achieve what has never been done before, to have a marathon run in under 2 hours.
Yeah, they had a team who only took care of the conditions, for example. And they came to Vienna, and they had a look on the street there in the Prater Hauptallee. So, and maybe you have to help me with the right word in English. Is it called asphalt?
Yeah, or the concrete. Yeah, the asphalt.
The concrete on the Prater Hauptallee. And they said, okay, on this area, it's not good enough for him. And then, the organization team who were in charge, they had to organize that the concrete or the asphalt is had to be new. So this is something we would never do for the marathon. So then we have to find another street to run. So, but this was the place where it has to be. And so thanks to this event, parts of the Prater Hauptallee are they have a new asphalt on it, and then there's a new street, like something like this. So what else was it? We never
also around like in one of the because it was like a straight, and then one of the two turning points they actually built a steep curve.
Sure. They built it. Yeah, they did so because it was better for running. I don't know the calculations in behind, but everybody who is interested in the scientific things behind, on the website of this event, you can really, really find huge educational material about it. It's so interesting. They really prepared, all the experiments and the scientific background for schools. And it has so much to do with physics, aerodynamics, and it's really crazy what they did. Fantastic, really, really amazing.
And how was it for you? Like, because normally as the Vienna City Marathon team, you were organizing your event, like you were the head of the event. Like basically whatever you decide to do, it's going to be done. In this case, you were the organizer, but you were not the one who initiated it. So you were a service partner, so to say.
Yeah.
How was that different?
Yeah, a totally new role for us in this event. And this is also something you have to learn. Then if we are in the Vienna City Marathon, we are in charge of everything we decide. I can go to the next room to my colleague and say, okay, what do you think about this? I don't like it. We do it like this, blah, blah, blah. And then the decision is made. And dealing with the big company and like INEOS is, or even we have to talk with so many people just to get to a decision. This was really a new role for us. But I think it was really important for the future, again, as when we deal as an agency, like when we do a small run for Adidas, for example, we have to do what they want. So this is what we can offer something. And for the INEOS 159 challenge, it was the same. We are the ones who have to be like the service oriented ones. We have to do what the race or the event needs. And this is a learning, of course.
And then the 12th of October, 2019, when there was actually the race, do you remember on that day, what was your role on that specific day? And also, what were the emotions going on inside of you when he actually broke the 2-hour barrier?
Yeah, I tell you something really, personal. I was so happy that the whole Vienna City Marathon team had at this time an organization team that was fantastic. And my job was only to be there because I was not really involved in all the organizational stuff down there in this event. And, in addition, I was sick before and then I came to the event and I was healthy again. And I was so happy that I was CEO at this time. And I was so happy that the team was there doing this all and setting this up all. And I had the chance to go back and enjoying really, this race, this beautiful race. And I said to the team, hey, come on, I am back and I help you wherever you need help. And sometimes they told me, hey, can you do this? Can you do that? And I said, yes, for sure, I can. But I was so happy that they did it and I had the chance to enjoy it. And I cried when he crossed the finish line. And I cried when I saw the first people at 5:00 in the morning coming to the Prater Hauptallee. I didn't even think that there were so many people, like thousands of people, standing on the Prater Hauptallee, and you saw it too, it was crazy. It was fantastic. The atmosphere was so thrilling and people were cheering and when he crossed the finish line, it was really crazy when he did it. And was one of my magic moments in my life for sure.
Oh, I can absolutely double down on that. It was really amazing. And what was for us, like also leading up to the event, because normally when you have a stadium event, you're selling tickets ahead of time. You know how many people are going to show up. At this event, we had no idea how many people are going to be there. And it was like, well, hopefully there are going to be some people, because there was no Austrian or no local hero involved in something. Like, are people going to relate to that? And then I remember I was there at 6:30 in the morning at the finishing area. And already both sides, there were people lined up there. And I thought, wow, thank God, we're not going to be alone. Like, it's going to be, we're not going to embarrass ourselves in front of the world. And then 120,000 people showed up, and it was just really, really magical. And if you haven't seen it, just watch the last kilometer on YouTube. It's just incredible. It's really, really one of those really special memories. For somebody, to shift gears a little bit, for somebody who would like to work in the sports or also event industry, who's just starting out, who might be like, hey, this is a dream of mine, what would you recommend to a person like that?
Yeah, I would recommend to do a traineeship or trainee program, or just start working in the event industry and find out if this is something for you. Because sometimes we have like people doing an internship in our office, and then when it comes to the race, they realize that it's not that what they expected, and maybe it's too stressful. Being stress resistant is one of the key
features that you need to bring.
Features you have to bring, and also being solution oriented, and just get your feet in, start doing, and find out if this is right for you.
So it's not for somebody who wants to go in at 9 to work and punch the time clock, out again at 5. It's maybe not the right thing. There are going to be times like that, or when you go out earlier.
Yeah, sure. There are times like that, but sometimes it's needed to work until 10 o'clock in the evening, or even on weekends. You have to prepare for this. But if you're passionate and if you enjoy it, just go for it.
Beautiful. Just to wrap it up, just some rapid fire questions for you. And it has been really beautiful so far. So, who is somebody that you admire or look up to, and why?
I really admire the founder of our company, to be honest, really, because he built this all up, and he has the confidence in our team. And this is somebody you won't know, and all the audience won't know, but I admire him.
Wow. What's the best book you've ever read, and why?
Strzelecki, The Café am Rande der Welt. It's called in German. I have no idea what it is called in English. The Coffee at the End of the World.
The bar. Something like that, I think.
Yeah.
And why?
Because it has really nice tips or lessons learned from life.
Beautiful book. And also the same author, also The Big Five for Life is also from him, I believe.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Also both of them very, very nice. Mm-hmm. What's one thing that you cannot live without?
My family.
I think you don't need to tell us why. And what's one piece of advice that you would like to give to somebody who's just starting out on their journey?
Be passionate, be curious, and be mutig. What's the word in English for mutig?
Courageous.
Courageous, yes. Be courageous.
Beautiful. Wow. If somebody got inspired, if somebody would like to get in touch, or even if somebody would like to run the Vienna City Marathon, where can they find you, and also where can they get in touch?
Sure. We have a webpage. You can go there, or you find me on LinkedIn. You can find me on all the social media channels. Whatever channel will be good for you, just get in touch.
Okay, beautiful. Any last 30-second thought that you would like to leave us with?
Yeah, I'd like to say thank you. Thank you for inviting me to this interview, or to this last 1 hour. And just as I said before, don't be shy. Just try out, think out of the box, think of the future, and change what you are able to change, and don't care about too many things which you're not able to change.
I love that. Thank you so much. Thank you for being on the show, and thank you for all your beautiful insights. All the best, and give it up, Kathi Widu. Woo!
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you for sticking with us until the end. To make this content even more valuable for you, please leave a comment below and share your thoughts, and also share this video with somebody you care about who absolutely needs to see this. Thank you very much. Have an outstanding day and see you next time.